For this movie, I knew going into it that I was going to like it because I really enjoyed the 2022 movie Prey, which was also directed by Dan Trachtenberg and was the first of his 3 Predator franchise movies that he's made now. Writers include Trachtenberg himself and Patrick Asen, who is returning from the Prey movie as well from 2022. For cast highlights, we have Elle Fanning, who is phenomenal in this movie. I'm absolutely a fan now. And then Sarah Schachner from the Prey movie from 2022. Only this time she is composing along with Ben Wallfish, who was the composer that did Blade Runner 2049. You also had for cinematography, returning cinematographer Jeff Cutter. For the film, you had, let's count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 VFX houses that worked on this film. ILM, Weta FX, Rising Sun Pictures, Trickster, Important Looking Pirates, The Yard FX, and Framestore. The visual effects in this movie are great, but I'll get further into that in a moment. The budget for this movie was about $105 million, which is a big vote of confidence from Disney. The runtime of this movie, 1 hour and 47 minutes. Another reason why I love this film, pacing and how a minute wasn't wasted. And where does this fit in the terms of the Predator franchise? This movie works really well as a standalone movie and a standalone story. There's no homework required here. You don't have to go back and watch an earlier Predator movie, although they are entertaining. This movie also does expand and does a great job with world building. You're going to hear a term in this episode and this movie called Yautja. It's one of the reasons why this movie is very fun. Doesn't matter if you're into Predator or not, or if you're a sci-fi person or not. But if you like entertainment, you like a good action movie, you like a well-done movie, this is your jam, I promise. The film was shot on location in New Zealand. You have all these beautiful natural landscapes. Weave that in with all the VFX work that is in this movie. And it is surprisingly rated PG-13 with all the fighting and violence. It's a Predator movie, come on. With all of that, for a very funny technical reason, it's PG-13. I'm going to tell you that when I did episode 21, Sound Speed Action, talking about Prey, I gave that movie a 9 out of 10. This is at least that, if not better. This one, Predator Badlands, is my favorite now in this franchise. Trachtenberg, I love your work here, man, because each one you do in this Predator world is better than the last. Prey was phenomenal. And then you did another one, which we haven't talked about yet, called Predator Killer of Killers. It's an animated movie, and that's on Hulu. And I'm so grateful that this one is available in the theaters before it comes to Disney Plus or Hulu. So my rating for Predator Badlands is at least a 9 or 9.5 out of 10. One of the most entertaining and satisfying movies of the year, hands down. Now I want to get into the specifics of the pros on this movie. And this is a bit of a list. Thoroughly entertaining from beginning to end. It also stands alone. You don't need to have seen any previous Predator movies, but again, I hope you do check them out. There are several subtle crossover nods. Without pulling focus to it, without forcing it, it just kind of leaves the door open to expanding on connecting another movie world. As I had previously said, Trachtenberg is now 3 for 3 with his Predator movies. You can tell he's getting more confident, he is absolutely creative, and in full control of this world. And in fact, you might know this director already. If you've seen the movie 10 Cloverfield Lane, that was Trachtenberg. That movie with Mary Elizabeth Winstead and John Goodman is so entertaining. In fact, the only part that's kind of a letdown with that movie is that it's a Cloverfield story. You're later shown that it's connected to that universe, but most of the movie doesn't have this forced Cloverfield feel to it. It has a paranoia, anxiety type feel to it. You have these great actors, and you have Trachtenberg, this very creative director. But all right, back to Predator Badlands. Elle Fanning, she delivers one of the strongest leads in this series, a really great character, and she does something that I think is very challenging for a lot of actors, and she makes it look effortless. She does a kick-ass job with this movie. The music in this is also terrific. Sarah Schachner returns and she adds her composing talent to this world along with Ben Wallfish, but Schachner, I still keep thinking of Schachner's soundtrack from Prey. The movie Prey already was great, but her music also just gave it this wonderful pulse and made it extremely exciting. And now you have more of that in this movie too. And besides the music, the sound design, the sound of the world that you're in, the environment, every growl, movement, environmental cue is terrific. The sound mix feels big, atmospheric, and really clean. Then I mentioned the runtime, 1 hour and 47 minutes. This movie had great pacing, didn't feel like it had an ounce of fat on it, a wasted moment, thoroughly entertaining from beginning to end. You can have a movie that is even 90 minutes and feels like it's dragging. Or you could have a movie like an Oppenheimer, which is 3 hours, but it just flies by because it's so engaging. The pacing here and the timing, all of it was excellent. I did mention that this movie has a lot of visual effects and several visual effects vendors working on this. And the visual effects in this movie are much better than Trachtenberg's first film, Prey. Most of the visual effects were fine, but I remember that from that first movie from Prey, there were some scenes like there was one with a lion and it was a CGI lion. It didn't look great. This had none of those issues. The visual effects, and there's so much visual effects in this movie, they looked great. And along with the VFX, of course, is the cinematography from Jeff Cutter. This movie visually looks as great from the way it was shot, just like his previous take on the movie Prey. But now let's talk about the character of the Predator itself. Still absolutely terrifying, a hunter, but this movie shows us the Predator from a different perspective. And it's kind of a theme that has been done before, but it's executed very well. The action is really entertaining. The choreography is a lot of fun. The weapons are crazy. The way the environment is dangerous itself. Just a wild ride with the action. And then with other franchises like with Avatar, in this movie, Predator Badlands, an entirely new language was invented. So that's kind of a fun little bit of world building for the detail of this movie. And then one thing I'll mention, it doesn't really give anything away, but there is a creature in this movie called the Kalisk. There are a lot of surprises that are thrown in there with this creature. And I think you'll see with it, when you see this creature and how the story unfolds, there's some very fun elements to it. Of course, the environment seems crazy and dangerous. The planet kind of feels like a character itself, like it has a whole personality. And then one other thing, listener, you know that I always talk about, even if you have a good hero and you have amazing stakes and all of that, doesn't matter if you have a paper-thin, crappy villain. That's not the case here. You have a well-designed villain, a well-acted villain, and a fun villain. I don't know how else to say that either. It's just really well done. I am going to geek out a little bit on one detail with the world building, and that's this concept of the Yautja. First of all, the pronunciation is Yautja. Yautja is the name of these creatures, and the term didn't appear in any of the earlier films. It came from some of the comics from the 90s, and I love that Disney and Trachtenberg dug that deep into the lore of this franchise and brought that kind of detail to the surface again, because it works well here in expanding the universe, and yet they don't feel the need to over-explain it. I love when movies do that. They'll put some information, some details, some names, some texture, but they don't over-explain it. You can look at that with the Bourne movies, the ones with Damon, Bourne 1 through 3. They don't over-explain anything, but Bourne Legacy, and then the last one with Damon, has that problem. They need to tell you exactly how every little bit works, and the audience can't be trusted to make the connections themselves and just figure it out along the way. But the really great thing about this movie is the way it's executed. Disney, the director Trachtenberg, they've left so many doors open for where this franchise can go. Even if it doesn't go anywhere else after this, if that's the last one, it's then going to be known as the greatest Predator franchise movie there is. And not even just that, a really great action movie. And along with that, it has some interesting themes. There are themes of rites of passage, a little bit of talking about identity, belonging, and then proving yourself. There is a huge future potential for this franchise. Disney, you gotta hold on to Trachtenberg. I'm getting a feeling that he is gonna be in high demand, if not already, by other studios and other franchises. Absolutely well deserved. And I mentioned the stunt work earlier too, especially this is for, and I hope I am getting this name correct, Dimitrius Schuster-Koloamatangi. This is the gentleman who is the body of the Predator. He is a stuntman, and there's a lot of these great behind-the-scenes videos of where, look, it's been in the trailers and in those clips, so I'll just say this part. He's wearing Elle Fanning like a backpack. It's really funny to see, but it works so well, and they work so well together in this movie. And it's been a pretty solid box office for the movie so far. The budget of about $105 million. Now, about 2 weeks later, it's at about $140 million globally. I am hopeful that this movie is going to be a sleeper hit. I think it's possible that it could break even. That's going to mean $315 million or more. I don't know. These days, for any movie now, in 2025 to not just break even but be profitable, they have to be event movies, and they have to be at certain times of the year, and it has to be IP, something that has a built-in audience. It has to be a book, a comic book, anime, an Avatar movie, maybe a Marvel movie. I don't know. Those are also kind of, people are getting exhausted of those. So do I think this movie will make its money back? Possibly. I really do think it has a shot, but I don't know. And that's not a concern with the movie. That's a greater concern I have with theater attendance globally in general. Finally, in this pros list, the PG-13 rating. PG-13 for Predator Badlands? That's wild. Come on. And the technical reason for it, of why it got this rating, is pretty silly. Yeah, when you hear about it, it makes sense. And I'm sorry, listener, I'm going to annoy you with this one. I can't tell you why, because that reason alone would kind of spoil the movie. But if you want to know, put a question in the comments and I will message you about that. As for the cons, let me put it this way. For the cons, even though I've rated this like a 9.5 out of 10, I don't have anything here for this list. There should be something that I'm taking a point off for, but I cannot think of it. Because this movie, one thing that I can say about it, if I haven't been endorsing it strongly enough already, it has very high rewatchability. Very high rewatchability. I, one, can't wait to see this in the theater again. And two, as soon as this is available for video on demand, I'm buying a copy. Disney did not pay me. This is just my own thing here that I absolutely love this movie. Predator Badlands is playing in theaters now. I do hope you get to see it in the movie theater like I did, because that was a hell of an experience. And as for video on demand, it should be available, I'm assuming, in late December or early January, and it'll definitely be streaming on Disney Plus or Hulu by January for sure. This is an awesome movie. It is definitely on my top 10 favorite movies of 2025 list. I do hope you check it out. And as always, thank you for listening.